African folktales. As an African American, I'm not well versed with any African folktales or folklore at all, which I hate because it makes me feel even more disconnected from a culture I'm already mad displaced from. I know about John Henry, I know about Santa Claus, hell, I know about leprechauns, and I have never met an Irish person. But I couldn't name you a single character from African folklore if my life depended on it. And I don't like that. I think that's kind of sad actually. Until today, because today I'm going to be doing a review of 6 African folktales developed into short films by 6 African directors. This is part 1 of 6, as I've decided just for consistency purposes, it's going to be a lot better and more efficient for time if I do 1 per video. So without further ado, welcome to Netflix's African Folktales Reimagined. Now I know what you're thinking, Brooke, is there not a better way to learn about the roots of your culture than a Netflix series? Come here real quick. Go get me a Switch. Why? Because you're not paying attention. I said it before, this was made by Africans, for Africans, straight from the source, no backwash. So of course, you know, I had to dress for the occasion.
Every time when we at that show, everybody go to try to go. Every time when we at that show, I see the people that they feel our flow. You know it's a non-stop vibe, non-stop alanga, everything, non-stop vibe.
Yeah. I'm just trying really hard not to shake my camera. Okay, now we ready. I hope this isn't cultural appropriation. So anyways, now that I'm dressed for the occasion, welcome to the first film of the series, Loukman Ali's Katera of the Punishment Island. Katera is a film about love, the effects of colonialism, and good old-fashioned revenge. The opening scene is a creative, charming, and well-made 3D animation, giving us a bit of exposition into what the story of Katera is about. In Western Uganda, women who get pregnant out of wedlock are basically hunted down by the Ugandan government. They're taken from their families and shipped to a remote island named Akampane, where they are left to starve or drown trying to get off the island. As the narrator continues, we learn they have heavy objects chained to their feet, which is what's preventing them from being able to swim away. And immediately this part caught my attention. Rather than outright executing them, they leave them on an island with no food, no water, and make it impossible to escape. Not only is that straight up evil, it's evil to the point where it would be less evil if they just killed them, which gives me some insight as to how we're setting up the villains of the story. But the opening cinematic is used to introduce us to the main character, which is also the one narrating the intro as well as summarizing her story for us pretty well. The following scene, we're met with a man sitting in a boat fishing. A bit abrupt of a mood switch to hear me describing to you through narrating, but utilizing excellent camera work, framing, and music, the scene shifts without feeling too jarring. And though the mood has shifted, the general tone stays the same. This was something small, but I really liked it. I liked how it was done, so I just wanted to point that out. And here we have my first major problem with the film. All we know about this man is that he was out fishing. And all we ever know about this man is that he was out fishing. He only stops fishing and playing his harmonica because he happens to hear a woman scream. Notice how I said he happens to? I'll come back to that later, but just keep that in mind for now. Also, nitpick, but isn't playing an instrument like the worst thing you can do when you're trying to catch fish? I'm pretty sure when they teach you in fucking fishing school how to do the thing fishing, they tell you not to be loud and not to make loud noises. And I'm pretty sure instruments count for that too, but maybe I'm wrong. Also, the man pulls up to the island and the bird, I think, is green screened in there. It seems to follow the path of the screen, not the camera, if that makes sense. I mean, it doesn't matter that much, but I wonder why they added it when the scene looked completely fine without it. Either way, Duke gets to the island and we are introduced to Katera. He cuts all the women free that are tied up on what I assume is a company, and all the women follow him but one, the main character obviously. Broken by what I assume is a very recent miscarriage, she sits at the base of the tree and cries as the man turns around to go back for her. Well, that's nice. He's gonna offer her a shoulder to cry on and support to help her cope with her.
My baby's dead.
Okay, well, not exactly what I would have went with, but I mean, I get it. This is a dangerous mission and he's got to bring her back to reality so they don't get caught. He could have sugarcoated it a little bit, but I get it. Well, anyways, they get back to an island. I guess it's not the one that the man's from because they leave after. And here lies, I think, my biggest problem with this short. They never really explain how this guy came to rescue these women. So as soon as he finds these women, he knows exactly where to go, where to send the women, and he happens to be carrying enough money to help them get help from the farmers up the hill. It kind of seems like he was there specifically to look for them and bring them to safety. To which I ask, why was he fishing? Can you imagine being held captive on an island and the police go out to look for you, anchor their boats like 2 feet from where you've been tied up, bleeding from a miscarriage, and they're just fucking fishing and playing the damn harmonica? You know, the more I think about that, the more I can actually see that happening. So anyways, it's the punishment island, not islands. If he understands where to take them, I assume he was aware of the location of the one singular punishment island, even if he was there coincidentally. And okay, even if we assume he didn't know, why are we as an audience being left to assume something that could be pretty easily explained? I don't know about y'all, but if I was captured and set free by some random fisherman with an anime scar on his eye, I would probably ask him how and why he's helping me. And I don't think that adding that in either at one of Katera's breakdowns or in casual conversation from the other women would have been too confusing if done correctly. But that's just how I would write the scene if I did it, I suppose. Because I kind of went the whole film wondering who this knife-throwing harmonica guy is, because I never really get info about it. I mean, I know that he used to serve in the war later on, but that's like it. But maybe that's a nitpick because we understand his role in the story pretty well without actual info, and that's what matters more or less. Oh, and her face twitches a little bit, and then she tries to kill herself. I'm sorry. Look, I tried to be one of them classy, artsy film analysis channels, and that lasted for maybe 5 minutes. I'm flawed. What can I say? Speaking of flaws, this short film has a few. Now, I don't think that they are glaring or ruin it by any means, but they're there. They're there. But this is a unique format for a website like Netflix, not in terms of short films themselves, but them being made all by African directors and writers. I really love that. I really love seeing representation of the African diaspora in film. But sometimes I'll point out little things just because I think they're funny, so I hope I don't seem overly critical. But man, what is with the face twitching? Who told her to do that? I know she's supposed to be angry, but it kind of looks like she's about to lose in staring contest. Okay, anyways, African Zoro saves her from the imminent doom of 3 feet of water. You know, at first I thought she was trying to drown herself and it was just directed and acted really badly, but turns out she was just trying to swim back to wherever for her baby's corpse. And just forgot that she doesn't know how to swim, I guess. So dude saves her again with more very kind words of encouragement.
Do you want to die? Your baby's gone. Dead.
She responds by making this face, which is actually the best thing ever, and eventually she agrees to go with him to his village in a short scene I actually really like. He eventually softens his demeanor just a tad and comforts her a little bit while she's crying, and then rows the boat to the island. I don't know, that's sweet to me. So upon arriving, they bury what I assume is her baby, and she is taken to Black Zoro's mother to get her wounds treated. And she lets the mom pat her forehead with a towel, but for some reason is jumpy about her ankle scars. I'm sure it's like a trauma thing, but she kind of needs those treated, no? And afterwards, the mom just kind of gives up and leaves. Like, I'm pretty sure that's gonna get infected. We then get a slight nightmare sequence with who I assume is the main villain. I won't lie. Faking somebody out by helping them up and then stomping their unborn fetus is a crazy concept. Like, that's just, that conceptually, that is insane. Can you imagine that? Ah, damn, bro, I think I twisted my ankle. Can you help me up? Sure, pal of mine. I'll help you up because I have no problem. Fuck your baby. Bitch ass nigga. Anyways, she wakes up and we get this fucking banger. And the second part tells us a lot without using any words, which I love. Narratively, it's such a refresher to see and actually made this one of my favorite scenes in the whole short. We get the induction of Katera to the village, the silent understanding her and Black Zoro's mother share when she sees that the woman has the same ankle scars that she does. We get what's almost a conversation between the two without any words, as the mother, once being in the same situation she's in, offers her alcohol. As if saying, I know your pain and what you've been through, this is the only thing that will help right now. She takes a swig and seems to recoil at how strong it is, which is nice. It's a nice moment of humanity and downtime to help us invest in the character of Katera even more, especially considering that we are a third of the way in without any actual dialogue from Katera besides some tortured screams. It's a nice addition and really just a beautifully made scene overall. Following this, she sits down with the children and corrects one of their words on the chalkboard. Black Zoro asks her where she learned to write English, and she says her mother taught her because she was a translator for her village. I do have some issues with this film and how it treats time in every sense of the word, but I think this is a small and effective way of helping us more or less figure out that this takes place in the colonial era or post-colonial era, and it comes across a lot better than it seemed like, "Hi, my name is Katera, my baby is dead, and it's kinda crazy that it's the year 1825. I mean, what's up with that?" This is a natural form of disclosing information to the viewer, and I hate how even a Hollywood budget film seem to forget that. Well done. After that, Katera sees some of the kids lingering about, seeming hesitant to join in on the lesson. So she goes and decides to use her knowledge of creating canvas that she likely learned from her mother to create a giant chalkboard to help the kids in the village learn English. It's another well put together scene that shows us our first real glimpse of Katera's character other than her anger and sorrow of losing her child. She is kind and willing to help others, particularly children, even as she is going through one of the darkest moments of her life. It's a simple but well done introduction to her character. So then she runs into this guy, apparently 4 months later. No idea who he is. He calls her dear, but she later says that she's in love with someone else named Biraro, which we haven't met yet. And also he may or may not be stealing cows? I don't know, man. The purpose and involvement of this character greatly confused me, beyond having a means for Katera to find out her father died, I guess. Oh yeah, did I mention her father died? Apparently he was killed by the ruthless dictator that captured Katera's significant other, stomped her baby out of the womb, and left her to die on an island. The heinous, the evil, the tyrant! Gregory? The main character's name is Katera, her man's name is Biraro, and this nigga's name is Gregory. Okay, I'm pretty sure they were going for the name being more colonizer-esque, but like, I don't know, it caught me off guard. I was like, who the fuck? Okay, so we learned that Gregory is planning to kill her lover in 3 days. So you know how I said this film was bad with time? Yeah, it's bad with time. Because if Greg planned to kill your man, why the hell did he wait 4 months? And why are you just so happening to find out about it right before he is planning to randomly 4 months later? I get it, this film is really campy and dramatic, but I still think there was a smoother way to get all this information to us as the audience. We also get a nice conversation about the opposing ideals of Katera and Zoro, because he thinks her teaching the children is more important than a dangerous game of revenge. She's basically like, okay anyways, and he's like, oh alright, and agrees to teach her to fight. Cue the training arc. After training, Katera basically figures out why Hawkeye in the MCU makes no sense, and she finds she's better at shooting than throwing knives like Zoro does for some reason. Where your swords at, buddy? Yo, the fact that she ain't even hit the target, bro.
On the day, you might only have one shot.
Remember that he says this. You might only have one shot. Remember that he says this. So anyways, we wrap up training, and I guess a few hours of that, and she's just ready to go. Ready to go restore her honor and get revenge and save her man. Okay. So we get a night scene with this guy who I still don't know the significance of. He basically goes and tells Zoro how Katera got to where she is and why Biraro, her lover, is going to be executed. Hanged, specifically. And there's something here about this guy allegedly stealing cows, but no idea what that's about. So anyways, look at this cool ass riding scene. Okay, so as we get there, the Biraro guy is about to be hanged, like right as we pan to the next scene. And she just casually shoots the rope to stop Biraro from hanging. Like, not only shoots it, but with this 19th century ass gun too. Also, it feels kind of weird that we don't get any close-up shots of the villains or Biraro here. Like, Zoro even says at one point that there was a white man with him, and I didn't even notice because not once do we zoom in on anyone's face until the main characters move in. And even then, they really don't look at any of the bodies. It may have been a stylistic choice, or it may have been that they didn't have enough cameras. Loukman Ali, the creator of this film, does say that they had limited access to resources, so I'll give the benefit of the doubt. Anyways, they shoot everyone but Greg for some reason, and they get her fiance back, so it's time to retreat. Yeah, I really don't know why they didn't just shoot Greg. I mean, if they're fine with murdering everyone else, I'd assume they'd be fine with murdering him. But, okay. Anyway, she gets her fiance back and Zoro's like, okay, time to retreat, time to leave, we got what we came for. But she's like, no, I want all the stuff he took from me. And he's like, but dude, I don't wanna. And she's like, no. And he's like, oh, okay. Also, for these two being in love, there is a painful lack of screen time and chemistry between them. I know she wasn't just doing it for him, but they could at least hug or show any emotion at all about being reunited. Okay. Also, the cow thief or whatever calls Biraro sir, so I guess they're like co-workers. I don't know. This entire next scene was painful for me because I'm like, ma'am, why are your eyes off of him for so long? You can't find some other time to say thank you? I really hate when people do this shit, bro. You know when someone's driving and they talking to you and they turn to look at you as they talk, like for some reason that's gonna make the words go in your ears easier. What's up with that? Anyways, that's how this scene made me feel. So next, they hold Greg hostage and take him to show them to the goods he stole. I guess when again, they could have just killed him like they killed the other guards and looked in the house, but okay. But then the door closes and locks from the outside, I guess. And lo and behold, he escapes somehow. You really have one job when you're holding a gun to someone, and it's making sure they don't run away. I don't know how or why they gave this man 3 seconds to sheepishly stumble away, but it seems like a convenient plot device so we can have the rest of the story. But it's like, I don't know, man. No way 2 people with guns are gonna let this old man just walk away from them and not realize he's doing, like, I don't know, I don't get that. So at this point, the rising action is doing its thing, niggas shooting, the alleged cow thief dies, and they're under pressure. They don't know what to do about this colonizer weapon, which seems to be a Vickers machine gun built in 1912. I did research about it, but I may be wrong. If so, that means I wasn't too far off predicting the time period. So anyways, shit's still going down, even though it seems like they could just sit there and wait for him to run out of ammo. It would have been cool if they included something like, we can't stay here because his reinforcements will come soon, which would have raised the amount of tension significantly and given us a plot device that makes perfect sense. Also, still no idea who closed the door if Biraro was outside and all the soldiers were dead, but I guess we're just supposed to not think about that. Yeah, he's not even there for like the whole scene. He's just chilling outside, I guess.
When I move, run for the door.
It's the worst. It's the worst.
Trust me. Run.
It's the worst.
She's right, by the way. So Zoro decides to run a 10-yard sprint at a man with a machine gun to throw knives at him. You have a ranged weapon, sir. Throw it and duck back behind cover. Oh my god, man. It's like, bro, shit bum me out. So remember what he said before? You only have 1 shot. Yeah, he had 2 actually. And he misses both of them. That's like the one thing you do is throw knives and you somehow manage to throw them 7 feet away from where Gregory is standing. That's actually harder than just missing normally. Anyways, then Zoro dies. And Gregory has a maniacal laughing scene before we discover that Black Zoro somehow managed to lodge a knife directly into the side of the gun. And it's not at an angle either, it's like he was standing right next to it. So I'm sorry, are we supposed to believe in this film about normal human beings that this man threw his knife into his other knife and did it hard enough and at just the right angle to get it between the bullets? Yo, fuck Katera, I want a movie about him. Bring him back to life, get him with the Avengers, get him with Black Panther, get him with somebody. Anyways, the gun jams. They look at each other for a bit, and then she main characters all over the screen by slide canceling into reload, and I guess throwing the knife at him in a way so that he stops firing the gun but doesn't die or have any injuries from what I see in the next scene, but okay. The next scene brings us to them on a boat. She tells him her father couldn't have kids until 50 and that the statue they have is what he believed blessed them with a family. And then she drowns him with it. That's freaking baller, man. And she knows it too. Look at her with the sunglasses on and her sleeves rolled up. She knows she that nigga. So they ride away into the sunset, having gotten her revenge, her man, and saving the women that Gregory had hostage. She regained a piece of herself that she probably never thought she'd have. And though mourning the friend she's lost, she can rest easier knowing she won't lose anyone else to the now defeated tyrant, Gregory. I really enjoyed this short film. I know I may have come across like I didn't, but I genuinely did. It's not perfect by any means because there are some plot holes, there are some wonky special effects, sometimes the acting is a little awkward, but none of that ruins the film for me. I think it set out to do what it wanted to do. It's a very campy yet dark and honest film that's about revenge and the effects of colonialism in Africa. The scenes were all shot and color graded beautifully. The acting is great in a lot of scenes. Kababito Tracy does a wonderful job as Katera. Michael Wawuyo Jr. does great as Zoro, and Gregory is actually the real life father of the actor for Zoro, so that's cool. And the music score by Andrew Ahura is one of the best I have ever heard from a Netflix film. And no, I'm not just saying that. These are songs I would listen to in my free time when I need inspiration or I just want to vibe out. They are amazing. I may be biased because I really love African music, but it's just genuinely amazing. Considering that the creator had limited resources, I would say this is a wonderfully made short film, and Loukman Ali did a fantastic job writing and directing this film. By the way, apologies if I'm saying anyone's name right. I couldn't find the pronunciations on the internet anywhere, so I hope I am saying them right. He drew inspiration from what is sadly a true story of the Ugandan people. He wanted to write a story that brought hope to an otherwise dire situation, and I think he did so respectfully and with great consideration. I may do reviews on some of his other films as well, because I think he has a lot of potential and I would love to see where he goes from here. I really like bringing attention to films that fly under people's radar, especially if it centers groups of people that don't usually get too big of a spotlight. I've actually never watched an African film before, and I'm very happy that's no longer the case upon creating this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you want to join me next week, where I will be reviewing the next installment of African Folktales Reimagined. I don't have any light goals because I'm just getting back into this, so I'm not expecting anything, but I'm going to finish this series even if it doesn't do well. I just really enjoyed making this video, so I'm going to continue to share what I love and just hope that you guys appreciate it. Thanks so much for watching, especially if you made it all the way to the end. I hope you have a good day, and I will see you next time.